Let me begin by saying that I'm not some sort of kook or conspiracy theorist. I'm a regular person, just like you. I have a job, a family, a mortgage, and all the normal ups and downs that come with everyday life. But something has been haunting me for as long as I can remember. Something that keeps me awake at night with an eerie, creeping dread. It's the moon. I know what you're probably thinking. The moon? That big glowing rock that hangs in the night sky? Hardly the stuff of nightmares, right? Most people look up at it with a sense of awe and wonder. They see shapes in its craters, a rabbit, a face, maybe even the classic man in the moon. Kids learn nursery rhymes about it in school. But to me, the moon has always been different, unsettling, malevolent even. Since I was a small child, I could never look up at that cold, dead sphere without an icy shiver running down my spine. Because while others saw fanciful shapes or just a big bright circle in the sky, all I could ever see was a single, unblinking eye staring back at me. And its gaze would follow me, subtly shifting through the phases. A narrowed slit during the waning crescent, fully open and unavoidable when that haunting moon was full. As a kid, I tried to ignore it and just be like the other children. I'd join my friends outside at night playing hide and seek or catching fireflies, and inevitably, one of them would point toward the moon with delight, maybe even making up stories about the funny face they saw there. But I didn't share their childlike sense of wonder and curiosity because I knew better. I knew there was no fanciful man in the moon up there, just a cold, watchful eye, following our every move from the blackness of space, unblinking, unfeeling, inhuman. I tried to explain it to my parents, but they just laughed it off as an overactive imagination. "Don't be silly," my dad would say. "It's just the moon. Nothing to be scared of." Easy for him to say. He couldn't see what I saw. As I got older and more pragmatic, I started to rationalize it away as just an optical illusion, a trick of the light and shadow playing across the moon's ancient, cratered surface. Just my mind imposing a familiar shape where there wasn't really one, like seeing figures in the clouds. I told myself this over and over, trying my best to shake that deep-rooted unease that would prickle the back of my neck whenever I saw the moon's baleful gaze. I tried to be logical, reminding myself that it was nothing more than a cold, inanimate rock, a quarter the size of the Earth, floating serenely in the void. It couldn't actually see me or mean me any harm. That is, until the night everything changed. The night I saw it move. I was home alone, restless as always when the moon was full, and that unblinking eye was focused unrelentingly on me. I gazed out the window, feeling that familiar sense of being studied, weighed, and judged by some unknowable cosmic being. Then, in the span of a single blink, the whole demeanor of that lunar leer shifted. The eye seemed to narrow further, the cratered facade taking on a look of wary malice, a look that felt directed at me. My breath caught in my throat as a chill rushed through me. I stumbled back from the window in shock and fear, nearly tripping over myself. Because in that moment, I knew it was no trick of the light. The eye had moved, ever so subtly, a hair's breadth of incremental adjustment that nonetheless sent an undeniable message. I see you. From that night on, rationality was no longer an option. That feeling of being watched never went away. And sometimes I could swear it was following me. Maybe it's just my mind playing tricks again, but I've lost count of how many times I'd glance out a window to see the moon positioned perfectly in the frame, hovering there like a pale, unblinking sentinel. No matter where I went or how quickly I moved, there it would be, keeping its lonely vigil. It always seemed to show the same unsettling face, endlessly the one inescapable eye boring into me, refusing to look away. I tried telling myself it was just the moon's odd, celestial locked rotation that meant we only ever see the same one side from Earth, a perfectly natural astronomical phenomenon. but it never helped to chase away that nagging feeling that it was somehow deliberate, purposeful, as if it chose to keep that same unreadable countenance turned forever in our direction, watching, waiting. For what, I daren't even guess. Perhaps it really is some kind of cosmic intelligence, an entity as old as the universe itself. Maybe it sees all of humanity as some kind of ephemeral curiosity, studying us the way scientists observe insects under a microscope. Or maybe its motives are more explicitly hostile. It could be biding its time, laying in wait to strike when the celestial omens are right. Either way, the dread has only grown as I've gotten older. I'll lie awake some nights, covers pulled up to my chin as I watch that cold stare through the bedroom window. On those unlucky nights when it's particularly bright and full, its mere presence feels overwhelming, like a physical weight pushing down onto me in the darkness. You might have heard of selenophobia, the pathological fear of the moon. Sufferers describe feeling dread and anxiety, even panic whenever the moon is out. Some can't even look at pictures of it without their skin crawling. Some bizarre phobia amplified by overactive childhood imaginings, twisting my perceptions into something more terrifying than what's real. There are myriad scientific explanations for these phenomena, of course, but I've come to doubt their neatly rational interpretations tell even half the truth. After all, the moon has always been there, hanging in the skies since before humankind even existed. Its steady gaze watched the prehistoric snarls of primeval demons. When they supposedly roamed and tribes huddled around their fires, it saw the rise and fall of countless civilizations, each one passing under its passive gaze like shadows. Men have walked on its cratered surface and sent rovers to explore its mysteries. Yet, for all we know about it, there's still something unsettling about its implacable presence. Some even claim its gravitational pull governs the movement of the tides, the cycles of the seasons, even the biorhythms that guide our bodily sleep patterns. That sphere, glowing unmoved in the night air, is more connected to our world than we realize. It's during moments like those that I can understand why so many ancient cultures worshipped and feared it as a god. Celestial rituals still held today mark its cycles, its passing movements. Full moons and blood moons celebrated with ancient symbols, and multicolored shows of dancers swirling beneath its watchful eye. Deep down, have they always known the truth? Those ancient ritualists and spiritualists who felt its power, did they recognize the same watchful presence that I keep sensing? That's why I've slowly learned to stifle my urge to spread the word, to explain what I've learned about that eye in the sky. Because every time I even consider voicing my suspicions out loud, I can feel its gaze intensify. A warning weighing down on me like a physical force. That cold, disdainful stare seems to bore deeper, rebuking me for daring to divulge its secrets. It's an unshakable feeling. That crucial intuition which has kept me silent. The profound sense that it sees all, bides in the shadows, waiting, as if simply bringing my knowledge of its existence into the light of day would be unforgivable blasphemy, drawing its full, merciless focus. No, it's better to keep my silence, my suspicions cloaked beneath a veneer of rationality, to lull my thoughts away each time that dread comes crawling up my spine. To force a smile and act normal, like every clear night isn't a trial, knowing the moon will be out there, glaring down its cold, impassive reproach, its merciless vigil never once relenting. In the secrecy of darkness, I can admit the truth. In my heart, I know that disdainful eye is watching, studying us with fathomless disdain and hostility, marking our every movement, our every hope and triumphs and shortcomings. For what sinister purpose, I daren't even guess. Only time will reveal its intent, and I'm not sure any of us want to know.